Hi, Mike Kennedy. This video is going to be a little bit longer and we're going to talk about pain. I'm trying to wrap everything together. I had some comments on one of my DMSO videos, so we're going to include that in the process. I think first we have to realize that pain is a much needed response our body has to injury, potential injury. You know, it's a warning sign. And indeed, there have been children that have been born without any pain, ability to feel pain. And sometimes the children have poked their eye out, a bit on their tongue, and cut a piece of their tongue off. It's just being absolutely pain-free is a serious problem. So we got to realize that pain has a function. Now we're going to talk about medicine, but we're going to kind of cut it into three parts. We're going to talk about prescription, over-the-counter, and then what I'm going to call alternate. And that's what DMSO and turmeric will be in. But first, the over-the-counter. You know, we have a lot of things, ibuprofen, Tylenol, Aleve, all kinds of things like this. And besides working against pain, some of them reduce inflammation. And sometimes inflammation is what's causing certain types of pain. So sometimes they work more by kind of lessening the thing that's actually happening that's causing pain. But unfortunately, as they found, that these over-the-counter medicines do have side effects, especially when used long-term. You have the ones like ibuprofen and aspirin that kind of can do bad things to your stomach. Tylenol can do something to your liver. Acetaminophen, I should say, instead of the brand name. But so you got to be really careful. You want to use the minimum amount. I think with all chemicals that you put in your body, you want to use the minimum amount you can to get the effect that you need. And we're going to talk more about that. Then you have the prescription pain medicine. Now this kind of, I'm going to break into two things. You have the ones that are like opioids. They're fairly rugged. And then you have some other ones that change serotonin levels in the brain. So you could have something like Cymbalta that works and changes the perception of pain. Cymbalta was once only used for depression, but now I believe it's also being used for pain because they've realized that changing that level of serotonin in your brain reduces the perception of pain. Okay? So there are a host of some other drugs that do that, something with brain chemistry that will change the way you are perceiving pain so it will be less. Imipramine is another one, much older one. But so then we go then from that will go back to the idea of the opioid type ones that are in the news so much and everything. Now we have many, many years, 20 or 30 years of research showing, excuse me, that people that are in chronic pain don't get addicted to the medicine they take. These are well-established studies that have been around forever. But we have this huge epidemic now of people addicted to these types of drugs. Now, they've been able to show that people in chronic pain, their body processes that differently. And somehow there isn't that addictive factor. In other words, someone can be on the same level of medication and it helping them for like 10 years and they'll never go up in the dose. Matter of fact, sometimes stopping it completely for a short period and starting back up again works to make this same level of medicine even work better. But you do have some people that are addicted, and it seems like now all they talk about is, oh my goodness, these people are all, they're all going to be drug addicts and everything. Well, I think there's two things going on here. We find, though, that we take the same pill over here that doesn't cause an addiction in a person in pain, and someone else takes it. I don't want to really say recreationally, but they're self-medicating themselves, and chances are they're not in pain. They're doing it for a psychological reason. And it seems to me, from all that I've read, is that when you take these types of medicines to deal with life problems, emotional problems, anything to do with the realm of non-pain related things, an addiction happens most often. And the addiction is it's very easily to see that these people need more and more to get the desired effect. So I think what we're seeing now, as our society seeks to be more intoxicated all the time, and I believe that's what's happening, that you have more of these people that are in the chronic pain who realize that there's something about the pain medicine that they like, and how it kind of dulls their senses to certain problems in their life, certain issues. And once you start taking it for that, you've kind of crossed over into the area where it's really going to mess you up. And the trick, too, is with any of these medicines is, if your pain level's way up here and, say, no pain is down here, you've got to be satisfied with coming down somewhere to a level where you can manage that level of pain in your life. If you insist on going right down to the no pain level, chances are you're going to get in that zone where this addiction can happen. You start experiencing this kind of buzz feeling people get from these, and there's your chance of really ending up in an addictive type situation. So normally, I think, and I was going to mention this at the end, but here we go anyway, the psychological aspect of that you want to decrease your pain to a manageable level. You don't want to eliminate all pain, because you just get into problems. And again, pain is the body's system of telling you something is wrong. So if all of a sudden I'm taking enough medicine, say, so I have absolutely no pain in my back, well, maybe there's another pain going on that my body's trying to say, hey, you got a problem here. I'm sending these pain signals to you, but you're not getting them. So that's the things on medications. I think we always have to look at the idea that we want to bring the pain level down to a manageable level. We're not really trying to get out of pain completely because, like I say, that's just not realistic, and that's where problems begin. Now, I've talked quite a bit about this in my other videos, so I won't go into it too much, but the TENS unit, the transepidermal neurostimulator. This little box of batteries runs electricity through your skin in the area where you say you have a shoulder pain. You might put them a patch here and a patch here so it bridges that area. You run this electricity through and it can control the pain. And sometimes it really turns pain off to some degree. It's kind of amazing. I use one quite a bit, and sometimes it works really well. Sometimes it doesn't work as well. And some people, it's funny, some people can't tolerate it. Just like when we're talking about medicines, some people get sick when they take certain medicines. And so all of these groups of medicines they can't use because they get sick using them. And sometimes this TENS unit, it gives you kind of a creepy electrical feeling, okay? Like a tingling. And some people just find that horrible, unbearable, that it's worse than the pain they're trying to cover. But you'll only know that by trying it. And now these TENS units, you can get them for $20 off eBay, and they work. They're not as fancy as the ones you pay hundreds of dollars for, but they work. Then we've kind of gone away from the drugs a little. Oh, I didn't mention the DSMO was in and turmeric. Sorry, we're going back up to the chemicals. DMSO is produced in the manufacture of paper. It's a byproduct. Now, maybe they manufacture it separately now, but it's been used as an industrial solvent. And somehow people started using it and found out that it does control pain. And it is available by prescription, but only for one, some type of ailment that has cysts and things. You can look that up to find out there's only this one approved use. Why is that? Well, again, DSMO, there appears to be some side effects. They've done studies where it's affected with animals, it's affected their vision. There's other, that it would damage their eyes using it, and some other studies that show that it interferes with the liver. So again, you've got, with any medicine, you've got the benefit and the side effects, and there's always a balance there, and that's why, things are decided to be used as prescriptions or not, because sometimes the risks outweigh the benefits. So anything like DMSO, if you're going to use it, you should try to use it as little as possible, just like over-the-counter drugs or anything. Turmeric is interesting because it's a food substance, and it tends to help inflammation, so therefore it can cut pains. I've noticed with the arthritis in my hand that taking turmeric, you can buy it or just put it in these 00 capsules, and taking that, I could feel a difference in my hands and the joints. And that makes sense because it's, whenever you read anything about, herbal things, that always seems to be the top one. So at least that one works. I think a lot of the other ones are placebo effects and don't work. And people, I don't know, my pet gripe here about some of these things is people don't realize turmeric's a food substance, so people eat a lot of it in India. If you've ever seen a yellow elephant, they paint elephants with this. It stains quite a bit. And it's used for yellow coloring in certain foods. And it's just a food substance. So, you can be sure that the amount that you would take for pain level is the same type of level that you might have if you put it in your food. So that tends to make that idea safer. But you got to be careful still. So we're going back to this idea of machine. We've got the TENS unit, a non-drug way to deal with pain. Then, of course, we have exercise. Most people find that exercising the affected joints or area of the body, if it's a skeletal thing or joint thing, that even though it creates more pain at the moment, that they have less pain during the day. And so exercise can be very good. Sometimes, too, at least with me, I can lay certain ways and eliminate a certain amount of pain, too. So, let's say you can get in certain positions. Someone might find that if they stand too long, they're in pain, they need to sit, or someone that they sit too long, they're in pain. And how they sit, the chairs, and all these things. So sometimes a position can mean a lot. And the last thing, second to last thing is about your mental attitude. Again, I think it's just unrealistic and dangerous to go to the area where you say, I want to be out of all pain. Because you get into, when you take medicine into that degree, you usually end up with your brain being fogged, and you have an inability to make correct decisions. All these different things can happen, and that usually happens when you get down in that level of taking enough medicine to eliminate all pain. Now, I know I had some operations I had to do too, so I had 3 months out of work, and they give you pain medicine because your body heals better on pain. You're more on pain medicine, you're more relaxed, and your body just tends to heal better. But it was like my brain was foggy that entire time, and I wanted, it's time for the pain medicines to stop, so I stopped, and the pain level went up, but then it went back down again eventually from the operation. But again, I think you have to be willing to accept maybe a higher level of pain than you normally had at one time, so that you can continue to function in your life, so you don't turn into some kind of zombie where your brain is clouded all the time. And this can happen with certain pain medicines and certain substances that you use. I mean, they're legalizing more things, and people are pushing to legalize even more things that are more kind of in the intoxicating vein of things. And obviously, if you drink enough, you're not going to feel pain, but that's not where you want to go. It does a lot of things to your entire body, including killing brain cells. But you just got to, the mental attitude has to be that your pain's up here, this is no pain, and you bring it down so you're above no pain, and you've got a certain level of pain, and you just accept it, and you're glad that you don't have the pain up here. So there's a certain mental attitude that I think you have to develop so that you can continue on with life and not get into these situations where you're so dependent on medication, you're taking too much of it, or this or that, or you get way off into some of these alternate things that people are doing, and it's kind of like, well, some of those things have side effects, and people are unwilling to accept the fact that they do. And again, we always want to use the minimum amount to get the effect we need. And we got to be really careful if we start taking medicine for pain and we take it for other things. And, that's just the way it is. I know I was talking to someone once about gabapentin. There's a drug that is used for widespread pain that people have, and it's for things like I forget the fibromyalgia. I don't know. Anyway, some other things. People take these, and then they end up taking too many of them, I think, as they turn to the idea again of they're using it to try to solve some of the problems in their life, and it just doesn't work. And then the final thing, and I'm just going to mention this briefly, uniting your sufferings to Christ if you're a Christian. And that's a very hard thing to explain, and I think you almost have to learn it on your own. You can look into it if you're a Christian, but it's the idea that God can use the pain and suffering that you're in for a redemptive purpose for yourself or others. And that's all I'm going to say about it, because it's when you're in pain, someone says that to you, it doesn't usually strike a very good chord, because it's kind of a concept that one has to learn, and it's not necessarily the easiest answer. So there we go. Pain, pain, pain. What do you think about this? If you're in chronic pain, do you try to eliminate all your pain, or do you just try to bring it down to a minimal level? Have you ever got in trouble with different types of pain therapy where it started to affect your life in a negative way? Tell me what you think. Bye.